Okay, this is going to be a Raw review for the 13th of July, but before I start, I'd just like to get your views on something. So in order to gauge your views, I thought I'd do a little straw poll. So could you please, everyone at home, put your hand up if you like Seth Green. No, I'm totally serious. Actually do it. Put your hand up if you like Seth Green. I know you look a bit ridiculous, but no one's watching. Go on, put your hand up. Okay, keep them up so I can count them. Hang on. Why has nobody got their hands up? Because nobody likes Seth Green. That's why. Nobody. Every time I see Seth Green on TV, I think, oh, what an insufferable wanker that guy is, right? He has no talent. He's not funny. He's not entertaining. Every film or TV show he's ever been in, he's always been the worst person in it. Austin Powers, for example. Seth Green's character, clearly the worst person in it, clearly the least funny person. Or The Family Guy, as Triple H called it. No, there's no the. It's just Family Guy, you fucking moron. Anyway, Seth Green's character, clearly the least entertaining in that as well. Seth Green has no talent. He should not be on my TV screen. He certainly shouldn't be on my TV screen totally out of context as a wrestling GM. Does he even know anything about wrestling? This is ridiculous. This is what everyone was worried about when they started this whole Raw guest host thing. And our worries, you know, we were worrying slightly less after we saw Ted DiBiase last week do a tremendous job in the GM role. You know, he's just perfect for that part. You know, he's a charismatic ex-wrestler. You feel like he's earned that role in some ways. Seth Green, just a wanker. And under Seth Green's management, and this may sound like an exaggeration, but this is what I actually felt after watching this week's Raw. This was the worst Raw I've ever seen. The worst. Like, full stop. This Raw for me was without merit. Nothing good happened. Everything was booked wrong. Except for Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho's great. He's SmackDown, that doesn't count. Everything was booked wrong. Just a sea of horrible booking. We had monster heels and gimmick matches and celebrities fighting. This was fucking shit. This was the worst Raw I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of Raws. I've been a wrestling fan for a large proportion of my life. This was awful. Anyway, let's begin. We start off with Triple H coming to the ring and the crowd go crazy. They go absolutely crazy. He gets a crazy pop and the crowd are cheering him. At which point I wrote in my notes, oh great, the crowd are a bunch of fucking morons as usual. But I'm going to take that back. That was just a snap judgment because I assumed there was a sort of crowd that would cheer Triple H and boo John Cena. And I hate those crowds because if you're going to boo John Cena, the only legitimate reason for me is that John Cena buries too many people and wins too many matches. Triple H does that even worse than John Cena, so you should be booing him as well. But no, they weren't that kind of crowd. I take it back. This was a great crowd. This crowd were just so into it. They were cheering all the faces, they were booing all the heels. People who never get cheered. People like Primo. There was a Primo chant. They were chanting Primo's name. That's never happened. And Carlito was getting heel heat. That's never happened either. This was incredible. Great crowd. Anyway, Triple H comes to the ring and he introduces tonight's guest host from The Family Guy, my friend, and therefore obviously a wanker, Seth Green. Green comes in, dances around for a bit, and then books his first match, which is going to be a 6 diva swimsuit summer spectacular. And he's like, doesn't that sound good? No, sounds fucking awful. Triple H tries to be amiable, which of course doesn't work because Triple H is clearly a horrible person. And it's basically just an ego on legs with muscles. That's all he is. Then they show a clip of Seth Green's show, Robot Chicken. It's not on over here in the UK, or at least I don't think it is. Even if it was, I wouldn't be watching it. It looks shit. Triple H is in the first episode. It looked fucking terrible. Then Triple H and Seth Green have some banter in the ring about Randy Orton. And Randy Orton comes out. And if I'd been in the arena, I would have popped him like crazy. Because I couldn't stand another second of Seth Green Triple H banter. It was like nails on the chalkboard. It was fucking terrible. Orton comes out and Orton starts mocking Seth Green, and Triple H suggests that Seth Green make the main event Triple H versus Randy Orton. No, I'd rather have something watchable, thanks. But Seth Green, the main event isn't watchable by the way, but Seth Green Instead, he gets carried away with his emotions as Orton's mocking him. So he makes the main event Legacy versus Triple H, John Cena, and himself, Seth Green. No one wants to see you wrestle, Seth. No one. At which point the King said something which I think sums up Raw. One way or another, it's going to be entertaining. And it wasn't. First match of the night is the summer swimsuit match. Mickie James, Gail Kim, Kelly versus Rosa Mendez, Alicia Fox, and Maurice. Now, the first thing I thought about this was Raw really needs a good wrestling heel diva. But then I remembered they actually have Beth Phoenix, and Beth Phoenix just clearly refused to take part in this because it wasn't serious enough. Good for you, Beth. I didn't really get the point in this match at all because basically the divas were wearing about as much as they normally wear. You know, they don't normally wear all that much. It's not really a big deal. All that happened is it just made them look worse in the ring, and it made Michael Cole's claim that they were smart particularly ridiculous. This match was terrible. Everyone looked terrible in it except Gail Kim. Even Mickie James, who's actually quite good, looked pretty damn bad in this match. She did a horrible Lou Thesz press. Gail Kim looked great. In the match comes Maurice and Mickie James, both get the tag. They come in and they're playing up the idea that Maurice can't beat Mickie James. So I assumed this meant the storyline was going to keep going and then Maurice would eventually beat Mickie James at Night of Champions. But no, Maurice just beats Mickie James here, which I guess means Mickie James is going to beat Maurice at Night of Champions. I don't know, who even cares? Anyway, Maurice hit a beautiful DDT at the end. It was really sick. That was the best part of the match. Other than that, absolutely terrible. Then we had Seth Green and Chris Jericho backstage. Jericho launched into his usual unprovoked attack, which always makes me laugh. He called Green a parasite, a drone, and a hypocrite, of course. And he said that Seth Green should have come to him as soon as he became GM and pandered to him because he's the biggest star on the show. And the best thing he said was, Green says, I just try to give the people what they want, and Jericho says, the people don't know what they want till I tell them. Jericho just has the greatest gimmick and the greatest delivery. Just a fantastic character, brilliant. Then Jericho has to publicise some roller skating event of Seth Green's, who knows. Primo comes out and he calls out Carlito. This is totally random, by the way. Carlito doesn't show up, but then the Miz's music plays, and the first thing I thought was, okay, the Miz is just a lower mid-carder now. He's going to have a match with Primo, apparently. But the way the Miz was talking, he delivered a promo, he said, oh, Carlito's not around, he must be doing something more important, like getting a cup of coffee, so I've come to embarrass you so I can impress Maurice. And I was like, so this match isn't scheduled? The Miz is just showing up and beating up Primo? Is that the idea? I have no idea. The Miz showed up. This was actually the best match of the night, and it was 5 minutes long, and it involved interference. That's how bad this Raw was. This was the best match of the night, in my view. Primo starts off strong. Miz grounds him, and they get a Primo chant. I was like, what the hell is going on? Primo does some good stuff. He does a flying crossbody. Carlito shows up and distracts his brother, allowing the Miz to get the victory with his new finisher, which is basically the breakdown, Chris Jericho's old finisher, the full Nelson facebuster, which is a good finishing move. I'm glad he's finally got one. But what this made me think was, really, the Miz, who was getting a main event push not so long ago, needs help from the outside to beat Primo, who is a lower mid-carder and will probably get released within the next few weeks. I mean, really, they're just booking the Miz so badly, especially considering he has such great heel heat. But yeah, that was that. Anyway, Carlito comes in and spits the apple into Primo's face, and Michael Cole says, it was indeed Carlito's way tonight. And I was like, okay, well done, Cole. You managed to make a film reference which makes very little sense, except for the fact that it contains Carlito's name. They mention Edge's injury, and then we have a backstage segment between, the inevitable backstage segment, in fact, between Seth Green and Hornswoggle. Seth Green has decided that he's going to put Hornswoggle in another match tonight against Chavo Guerrero. Hornswoggle Shavo 2, as I like to call it. This time Shavo will have his arm tied behind his back. Can it match Hornswoggle Shavo 1? We'll have to wait and see. The Big Show comes in because Seth Green's asked his advice after booking himself in the match later on tonight. And the Big Show says, you'll get to see what happens when a man of your size gets into a WWE ring tonight when I destroy Evan Bourne. And I was like, oh, that is so comparable. Evan Bourne and Seth Green. Fucking hell. Actually, Seth Green fared better than Evan Bourne during this night, but anyway, turn over to part 2.